Welcome everybody to Go Local Live. I'm Josh Fenton, CEO and co-founder. Thanks for joining us today. It is not as sunny as today, but this weather is pretty darn good this week. A lot of news last night up at the General Assembly. A major environmental bill pushed through the House. It's very controversial, and sides teamed up on both sides. And then the charter school moratorium legislation was in House Finance. Hundreds of parents signed up to testify against that moratorium, primarily minority parents who want to see charter schools expanded. They got held out. No one got to testify of those parents for 5 hours. They're coming back a week from Wednesday. And third, CRMC has got some more controversies. You can see some exclusive coverage on that. But let's go to our friends at Mott and Chace. Jeni Pardo de Zela, she joins us this week. And we take a look at kind of the technology behind real estate. Jeni, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Josh. I appreciate it.
Let's go to, so we're in a crazy world of real estate right now, right? There's all these people want to buy a house. There's not that many people want to sell a house. It's as competitive as crazy as certainly any of us have seen during our lifetimes. Talk a little bit about how technology is playing in its role as connecting people and educating people. And let's start with AVMs.
Sure. So most people know AVM by a commercial name, which would be the Zestimate. And that came out about 10, 12 years ago. And it's a great way to kind of stick your toe in the water if you want to know what your house current market value is. We offer a program here at Mott and Chace. If you visit sell.mottandchace.com and enter your address, we'll give you up to 3 different AVM models. And you can really get a range on what your current home value is. And depending on which one it is, it may be Zestimate, it may be e-appraisal, it may be public data that's coming back. That range can run anywhere from $10,000 to $40,000, $50,000. And so the AVMs are really useful to give you just a basic understanding of what's happening, but you do need to keep in mind that it is just a computer algorithm. So therefore, it doesn't know, if you've done some updates to your home. It doesn't know if you've got a beautiful waterfront view. You really need to bring in a real estate agent that can give you current market value. But the way that technology is really driving it, and the AVMs in particular, is it's just a great starting place if you're a seller and you just want to get a basic idea of, what is the current value of my home? And there's lots of different ways to do it. But then the other piece that you want to keep in mind, that a lot of these are running an error rate of about 2%. So that could be 2% over or under what that estimate is compared to what that property is actually going to sell for once it goes on the market.
Okay, Jeni, I've got lots of questions. Does it take into account, you say it doesn't take into account whether or not you have a water view. Does it take into account whether your puppies chewed on the woodwork?
It absolutely does not. That's a great question. No, so that livability and any wear and tear on the house, it really is just pulling data and running an algebraic algorithm.
And how, I see them, I think everybody peeks at what their house's value is. How far on or off are they based on your experience? I mean, you're a big firm in Rhode Island and you're part of a global network, so you guys have a lot of data to sort of bounce these things off. How accurate are they?
So again, it really depends on the market and the area that you're in. So if you're in an area where the homes are similar, so think Las Vegas. Las Vegas has a lot of tract homes, and the houses are going to sell. They're pretty similar square footage, pretty similar floor plan, and they all sell for a pretty tight-knit price. Now think about Watch Hill or Newport. You could have a very large mansion on one side of the street with an ocean view, and on the other side of the street, it could be a smaller colonial-type property. There, you're going to find a much larger error margin versus the tract homes. So I think in our markets, each town is different. But if you're in a predominantly single-family home market, that margin of error runs around 3%, 2 to 3%, and then when you get into more luxury properties, you could be running anywhere from 4 to 7%.
And that's not even counting the puppy factor. So
not even the puppy factor.
Okay, so let's jump over to, the technology really is remarkable. Let's talk about Matterport, and do people know what Matterport means?
No, I think the general public doesn't understand it. A lot of time in real estate, we get accused of referring to things as real estate ease, and Matterport would be one of those items. Last year, according to Redfin, over 63% of buyers made offers on properties sight unseen. So they never had an opportunity to step into that house, and they were basing their offers on things like a Matterport, which is a 3D virtual tour. And so if you're familiar with Google Street View, when you can drop a pin onto the street and actually kind of spin your camera around it and look at what's happening in that neighborhood, a Matterport does the same thing. You can actually walk through the property on your computer to see what it looks like. If you actually have an Oculus Rift headset for the virtual reality piece, you can literally walk through it from your own living room, which is really unique. So the Matterports, those virtual reality tours that are really driving the industry right now, and we've seen a major increase in the requests and the use of them in our marketplace here in Rhode Island. I can tell you in 2018, 2017, people didn't know what they were and they didn't want them, and now it's almost standard that we offer it for the majority of our properties.
Yeah, the technology's developed. Listen, it's been around since, God, the late 90s, early 2000s, where they would stitch together images in a room and you could do a 3D review of it and then link to the next room, et cetera, et cetera. But now it's quite seamless. I just can't imagine making an offer on a house in which I would have to put some money down, as the rule goes, without ever seeing the home.
Yeah, it's happening quite frequently now where people are doing that. And so, here at Mott and Chace, Sotheby's International Realty, we really believe that you only have one opportunity to make a first impression. And therefore, we make sure that everything is buttoned up when we launch a property. So your photos, videos, description, all of it is the best possible presentation of your property, because we do know that people are coming in and looking at it. And, it may be the drone video that sells them on the house, or it may be the 3D tour, or it may be the one photo. We've been sharing it quite a bit socially of a poodle sitting on a chair that really captures somebody. You don't quite know. And so we want to make sure that we have the best presentation, and that technology is driving that. Some of the other things that are happening are virtual staging. If you don't have the opportunity, or if you're fearful of somebody coming in and staging your house right now due to COVID, it's not a problem. We can do it virtually. If you have an empty house, we can drop furniture into it. If you have a property that maybe needs a little upkeep, we actually work with companies that will remove items, a la your Brady Bunch chandelier, and drop it to new chandeliers, right? So there's lots of different ways to do it and to present your property the best possible way the first time it hits the market, because that's when you have the highest interest in that property. And you do want to capture those people that are just looking to make a move and put in that offer.
And just go back to your earlier point. The selling point is a poodle on a chair. As a
Yes.
person who has two rescue lab mutts, I find that very offensive. I'm not sure I would look at that house in any great degree after seeing a poodle living there. But just saying, that's just our preference. But in all seriousness, it is the opportunity during the pandemic to really explore a property, at least from a flow, from a feel, in a way that you never could have done before without physically touring the property. Are you getting feedback that there's, I made the offer, it's not exactly as they develop in the buying process, that there's any pushback on that experience didn't pay off reality?
I would hold that question for next week for one of our agents, because they're more in touch with clients. What I can tell you are some anecdotal things. Sure. And the feedback that I'm getting is that it's actually helping them to drive their decision-making process, because they may have the opportunity to see a property that they wouldn't actually go and visit, in person. And we do have a few out-of-state buyers that are coming in, and it's a lot easier to tour a property either through a Facebook Live event or through a virtual tour or Matterport from your couch in Boston than it is to come down and get that 15 minutes on an open house on a Sunday. So I don't think at this point that the technology is hindering anybody, and I have not heard of anybody once they get in, finding that the property did not meet their expectations. We are very particular about the way that we present properties, and we want to make sure that the clients on either side of the deal have a stellar experience.
Jeni, talk a little bit. There's a story in the Wall Street Journal, it was either yesterday or the day before, it had the most miraculous statistic that I think I've seen, but it may talk about just how little inventory there is. There are presently in the United States more licensed realtors than there are houses on the market. Your thoughts when you hear a number like that and know how competitive it is for every piece of property?
Right. That's not really surprising to me right now. And I think part of it is there's a little confusion about what's happening with the inventory. And so, yes, inventory is lower right now in the market, but that's your visible inventory. A lot of times we talk about there's X number of properties on the market. And the truth of the matter is that the under agreements and numbers of properties that have sold, the units, are actually up nationwide. So there is inventory out there. It's just that it's not sitting there invisible right now. So properties are coming on and off the market. When we talk about the number of agents that are in the country compared to the number of properties, there are a lot of people that get their license and don't use it. Here at Mott and Chace, Sotherby's International Realty, almost all of our administrators have their license, but they don't list and sell. So sometimes those numbers are a little bit skewed. So you have to kind of keep that piece in mind.
Darn that Wall Street Journal.
Yeah.
To get a sense of how quick things are going, we poked at a one-room condo in Newport, made a couple questions about it. It was gone the next day, just gone. Is that the reality we're in right now in those preferred marketplaces, people looking to get something in Newport, something in Narragansett, that things are going in a day or two?
Absolutely. And it's not just in those markets, it's actually around the state here. And really, if the property is in great condition, no puppy chewing happening.
No
and if
puppy
it's
chewing.
right. Yeah, if it's priced right, it's going to go. There is a large pool of buyers out there right now, and people are looking to move. So if you're pricing it correctly, and it's in good condition, if the more turnkey a property is, the faster it goes. But yet the competition is still pretty rough out there right now for buyers. And so it's one of the reasons that we offer, different types of technology for buyers to work with, and even for our agents to some degree.
And talk about, last but not least, sort of trends. We are now officially into the spring buying market, or maybe we should recast it the spring selling market, because sellers dominate. Look at your Ouija board, your crystal ball, your Magic 8 Ball. Is this going to have the same level of inventory as we would have seen in 2019? Or will all this kind of get delayed until the fall when more people have been vaccinated, and then you see people who are empty nesters really begin to flood the market and start putting things up for sale?
Right. I would love to have that Ouija board. I think everybody would. What I can tell you is, here at Mott and Chace, Sotherby's International Realty, we track the stats pretty frequently. And while under inventory has been low, I can tell you over the last 4 weeks there has been a steady incline in properties coming to the market, and we are actually reaching the same levels that we were at in 2019 and 2020. So I think that you're going to see more properties coming on the market. I think as kids finish their school year and more people get vaccinated, I think it's going to loosen up a little bit. And I do think that you're going to see more properties coming on the market. And I also think you're going to see people, doing another migration, people that may have wanted to move, maybe from New York City or Connecticut to Southern Rhode Island or Boston to the East Side, and couldn't necessarily do it in November of last year, may move in the summertime. And I think you're going to see a little bit of a change there. And I'm hoping anyway that we get some more inventory on the market to fill that demand.
Jeni, last word from you. If I'm a prospective seller and I want to explore this technology and get a better sense of if it's the right thing to leverage for my property, what do they do next?
So what they do next is they reach to one of our top sales agents here at Mott and Chace, Sotherby's International Realty. You can just visit mottandchace.com and search the agents. We have about 130 different agents across the state, and just reach out to any one of them, and they'll give you the links to the different technology that we have to offer. If you want to find out the price of your property right now, it's sell.mottandchace.com, and you can just type in your address, and you'll find out, like I said, up to 3 different valuations, as well as it'll give you different buyer activity. You'll be able to see how many people are actually searching for homes like yours in the market. So there's lots of different ways, but real estate really, at its fundamental, is a relationship business. And while the technology is great, having a great real estate agent on your side there's nothing that can beat that.
Jenny, thank you so much for joining us. For everybody else, stay tuned. We're going to have the CEO of the company that is buying National Grid here in Rhode Island. He'll be on with us at 12 noon. And then Dr. Michael Fine at 1:30 talking about a number of issues related to both the vaccines that are being developed as well as the case numbers here in Rhode Island. So everybody, please stay safe. Please wear your mask. Stay nice and healthy. You got to hit this buyer's market, seller's market in the real estate, and you got to be healthy to be able to do it. Thanks, everybody.